You think you're careful with money. You really do. You clip the occasional coupon. You check your bank app maybe once a week. You tell yourself you're pretty good with spending. And then the end of the month rolls around and you're sitting there staring at your statement going, where the hell did it all go? Sound familiar? Yeah, it should. Because you're not alone and you're not stupid. Your brain is just running a completely different program than the one you think it is. See, here's what nobody tells you. You're not overspending because you lack discipline. You're overspending because your brain has been hijacked by about a dozen psychological shortcuts that were incredibly useful when we were hunting mammoths, and absolutely devastating now that we have Amazon Prime and one-click checkout. And these aren't small leaks. We're talking roughly $1,200 a month for the average American household. Just vanishing. Poof. Gone into a black hole of purchases you barely remember making. The name's Frank. And frankly, your brain is your most expensive habit, and you don't even know it yet. If you're someone who checks their bank account and feels a little knot in your stomach every time, hit subscribe. This channel is about real numbers, real psychology, and zero sugarcoating. And if this video ends up plugging even one of those leaks in your budget, a thumbs up would be nice. All right, so let's start with what most people believe about spending. The story goes something like this. You see something, you think about it, you decide whether it's worth the money, and then you buy it or you don't. Rational, logical, like a little economist living inside your skull with a calculator and a spreadsheet. And honestly, on the surface, it makes total sense. That's how it feels, right? You feel like you're in control. You feel like every purchase is a conscious decision. I get it. But here's where it falls apart. Researchers at Duke University found that roughly 40% of what we do every single day isn't actually a decision at all. It's habit, automatic behavior. Your brain running on autopilot while you, the conscious you, the one who thinks you're driving, is basically sitting in the passenger seat scrolling through your phone. 40%. That means almost half of your daily actions, including a massive chunk of your spending, happen without you genuinely thinking about them. And that's just the starting point. Let me walk you through the specific tricks your brain is pulling on you right now today, probably while you're watching this video. And I'm going to put real dollar amounts on each one, because vague warnings don't change behavior. Numbers do. Trick number 1, anchoring. This one is beautiful in a terrible way. Your brain doesn't evaluate prices in a vacuum. It evaluates them relative to the first number it sees. That's the anchor. Retailers know this better than you know your own middle name. That's why the original price is always crossed out with the sale price next to it. That's why the most expensive item on a restaurant menu is at the top. It's not there because anyone's ordering it. It's there to make everything else look reasonable by comparison. Here's a classic study out of MIT. Dan Ariely, behavioral economist, he ran an experiment where he showed people a random 2-digit number, their social security number, and then asked them to bid on items like wine and chocolate. People with higher social security numbers bid up to 60% more for the exact same products. Let that sink in for a second. A completely arbitrary, meaningless number influenced how much real money people were willing to spend. That's anchoring. And it's happening to you every single time you walk into a store or open a website. The practical damage. Think about the last time you bought something on sale. You saved 30%, right? Felt great. But did you actually need the thing, or did the anchor, the original price, trick your brain into thinking you were getting a deal when really you were just spending money you wouldn't have spent otherwise? The Journal of Consumer Research published findings showing that sale pricing increases purchase probability by about 50%, even when the item wasn't on the shopper's list. That's not saving. That's spending more and feeling good about it. And for the average household, anchoring-driven impulse purchases add up to roughly $150 to $200 a month. Money you think you saved, but actually just spent. Trick number 2, the pain of paying, or more accurately, the disappearance of it. This one is, kind of terrifying when you really understand it. Your brain has a region called the insula that activates when you experience something unpleasant. Pain, disgust, losing money. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, and MIT did brain imaging studies and found that when people pay with physical cash, the insula lights up, it hurts, There's a real measurable neurological cost to handing over bills. But when you pay with a card, or tap your phone, or use a saved payment method online, that activation drops dramatically. The pain essentially vanishes. Your brain doesn't register the loss the same way. It's like the difference between someone punching you in the arm and someone gently tapping your shoulder. Same action in theory. Completely different experience. And this isn't some minor footnote. A study published by the MIT Sloan School of Management found that people spend up to 100% more when using credit cards compared to cash. Double. You read that right. The same person buying the same category of stuff will spend twice as much simply because the payment method changed. Not because they wanted more. Not because they needed more. Because their brain stopped saying, ouch. Now multiply that across every tap, every swipe, every auto-renewal, every subscription, every saved card on every website. The Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco reported that cash transactions have dropped to about 18% of all payments. The rest is cards, digital wallets, auto pay. Which means for 82% of your transactions, your brain's natural alarm system is basically off. I did some rough math on this, and it's not pretty. If the average household spends around $5,000 a month on non-housing expenses, and the cashless premium is even a conservative 30%, rather than the full 100% from the MIT study, that's $1,500 a month in extra spending, directly attributable to not feeling the pain of paying. Now, I'll be generous and say, not all of that is avoidable. Let's call it $200 to $300 a month in spending. That wouldn't happen if your brain could actually feel the money leaving. That's trick number 2. Trick number 3, mental accounting. This is one of my, personal favorites because it's so absurdly irrational, and yet everyone does it. Mental accounting is a concept from Nobel Prize winner Richard Thaler. And here's what it means. Your brain doesn't treat all money as equal. It puts money into invisible accounts based on where it came from or what it's labeled for, and then applies completely different rules to each account. Here's the classic example. You're going to a concert. Tickets are $50. Scenario 1, you get to the venue and realize you lost a $50 bill from your wallet. Do you still buy the ticket? Most people say yes. Scenario 2, you already bought the ticket and you lost it. Do you buy another one? Most people say no. But think about that for a second. In both cases, you're out $50 and you need to spend $50 more to see the show. The financial reality is identical, but your brain treats them completely differently because it filed the money into different mental accounts. How does this hit your wallet in the real world? Tax refunds, bonuses, cash gifts, birthday money. Any money that feels like a windfall gets mentally categorized as free money or bonus money and gets spent way more freely than regular income. The Bureau of Economic Analysis data consistently shows that consumer spending spikes in the months when tax refunds hit, disproportionate to the actual amount received. People don't save their refund, they blow it, because it's in the found money account in their brain, and that account has very loose spending rules. And it goes deeper than windfalls. You've got your entertainment budget, and your food budget, and your clothing budget, and they're all operating independently in your head. So you'll skip a $10 lunch to save money on food, and then turn around and spend $40 on a streaming service upgrade. Because that's entertainment, and that account still has room. The money is the same. Your brain just pretends it isn't. The monthly cost of mental accounting. It's hard to isolate precisely, but behavioral economists estimate it contributes to roughly $100 to $150 a month in suboptimal spending decisions. Money shuffled around imaginary accounts instead of being evaluated on its actual merits. Trick number 4. And this one is the silent killer. Subscription creep and the default bias. Your brain has a massive preference for whatever the current state of affairs is. Psychologists call it status quo bias. Changing something, anything, requires mental effort. Canceling requires mental effort. So your brain's default response to any existing subscription, membership, or recurring charge is to just leave it alone, even if you're not using it, even if you forgot it existed. Here's a number that should make you uncomfortable. A survey by C+R Research found that the average American spends around $219 a month on subscriptions. But here's the kicker. When asked to estimate their subscription spending before seeing the real number, most people guessed around $80. They were off by nearly $140. That's not a rounding error. That's your brain literally hiding expenses from you because acknowledging them would require the effort of doing something about them. And the companies know this. Oh, they absolutely know this. That's why the free trial requires a credit card. That's why cancellation is buried 6 menus deep. That's why they don't send you a notification saying, hey, you haven't used this service in 3 months, want to cancel? They're banking on your brain's default bias, and it's working. Spectacularly. The average American has like 12 paid subscriptions. 12. And I guarantee you right now, at least 2 or 3 of those are for things you haven't used in the last 30 days. That's 50, 60, maybe $80 a month just evaporating because your brain prefers doing nothing to doing something. Trick number 5, social comparison and lifestyle inflation. This one doesn't need a fancy study to understand, but I'll give you one anyway, because that's what I do. Your brain is constantly, and I mean constantly, comparing your life to the people around you. It's a survival mechanism from when being part of the tribe meant not dying alone in the wilderness. But in 2025, it means looking at your neighbor's new car and suddenly feeling like your perfectly functional Honda is a personal failure. The Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia published research showing that when people's neighbors win the lottery, the non-winning neighbors have a statistically significant increase in visible consumption spending. Cars, home renovations, landscaping. And here's the really dark part. They also show a higher rate of bankruptcy. Your neighbor gets lucky, and it literally makes you spend yourself into financial ruin trying to keep up. And social media has put this on steroids. A study from the University of Michigan found that increased Facebook usage was associated with decreased life satisfaction and increased social comparison. You're not comparing yourself to your actual neighbors anymore. You're comparing yourself to a curated highlight reel of everyone you've ever met, plus a bunch of influencers whose job it is to make you feel inadequate so you'll buy what they're selling. The monthly cost, lifestyle inflation, driven by social comparison accounts for, conservatively, $200 to $300 a month in spending, above what you'd choose if you were making decisions in a vacuum. That's the premium you're paying to keep up with people who are probably also broke and pretending not to be. Now let me add this up for you, because I know you haven't been keeping a running total. Nobody does. That's kind of the whole point. Anchoring in impulse purchases, $150 to $200 a month. Pain of paying reduction from cashless spending, $200 to $300 a month. Mental accounting mistakes, $100 to $150 a month. Subscription creep and default bias, $100 to $150 a month. Social comparison and lifestyle inflation, $200 to $300 a month. Add it all up, and you're looking at somewhere between $700 and $1,100 a month on the low end, and up to $1,200 or more if you're on the higher side of each range. That's roughly the number in the title. And honestly, I think for a lot of people it's even higher. Because these tricks don't just add up, they multiply. Anchoring makes you more susceptible to the cashless spending premium. Social comparison fuels subscription creep. Mental accounting helps you rationalize all of it. They're not 5 separate leaks, they're a system. A beautifully designed, deeply embedded system that separates you from your money while making you feel like everything is fine. Do the math. I'll wait. Now, here's what you actually do about this. Because I'm not in the business of scaring people and then leaving them in the dark. That's what the news does. I'm here to actually fix something. Step 1. You run a spending audit, not a budget, an audit. Go back through the last 3 months of every account, every card, every digital wallet, and categorize every single transaction. Yes, everyone. I know it's tedious. I know you'd rather do literally anything else. But you cannot fix what you can't see, and right now, your brain is actively hiding things from you. The audit is how you override the autopilot. Step 2. Cancel the zombies. Those subscriptions you're not using, cancel them today, not tomorrow, not this weekend, today. Because your brain will fight you on this. It'll say, but what if I need it later? And it's only $8 a month. And I'll do it after dinner. That's the default bias talking. Punch through it. Open your phone right now if you have to and start canceling. Every dollar you save here is a dollar your brain was hiding from you. Step 3. Reintroduce friction into your spending. This is counterintuitive in a world that worships convenience, but convenience is literally what's draining your bank account. Delete saved credit cards from websites. Turn off one-click purchasing. Use cash for discretionary spending categories, at least for a month, just to wake up your insula. And remind your brain what spending actually feels like. A study from the Journal of Consumer Research found that consumers who switched to cash for discretionary spending reduced that spending by 12 to 18%. Not because they tried harder, because their brain could feel it again. Step 4. Build in a 24-hour rule. Anything over $50 that isn't a recurring bill or a genuine necessity, you wait 24 hours. That's it. You don't say no, you just say not yet. What this does is it takes the decision away from your impulsive, anchoring, susceptible, pain-free autopilot brain and hands it to your rational, morning coffee, clear-headed brain. You'd be amazed how many must-have purchases become, why did I even want that? Purchases after a single night's sleep. Step 5. And this is the long game. You need to detach your self-worth from your spending. This is the hardest one because it goes against literally everything our culture tells you. Your car does not define you. Your apartment does not define you. Your shoes, your phone, your vacations, none of it defines you. I know that sounds like something on a motivational poster, and I hate motivational posters, but it's also just true. The Johnsons next door with the new kitchen and the leased BMW? There's a solid chance they're leveraged to the eyeballs and one bad month from a real problem. The Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances found that the median American household has about $8,000 in savings. $8,000. That's not financial security. That's a speed bump. So before you feel bad about not keeping up, maybe consider that there's nothing worth keeping up with. Look, I get it. None of this is easy. Your brain has been running these programs since before you could spell compound interest. You're fighting millions of years of evolution every time you walk past a sale sign or open an app with a little red notification badge. And honestly, the game is rigged. These tricks aren't accidents. Entire industries, like billion-dollar industries, are built on exploiting exactly these cognitive biases. The stores know about anchoring. The payment companies know about paying. The subscription services know about default bias. They've read the same studies I just told you about, and they've weaponized them. But here's the thing, and this is the part where you either tune out or you wake up. Now you know too. You know about anchoring. You know why that sale price makes you feel like you're winning when you're actually losing. You know why tapping your phone feels like nothing when it should feel like something. You know why you have 12 subscriptions and thought you had 5. You know why your neighbor's new car makes you feel some type of way about your old one. And knowledge, real knowledge backed by real data, is the only weapon that actually works here. You can't willpower your way out of cognitive biases. That's like trying to outrun your own shadow. But you can build systems, friction, audits, waiting periods, cash envelopes, whatever works for you, that account for how your brain actually operates instead of how you wish it operated. You're not broken. Your brain isn't defective. It's actually doing exactly what it evolved to do. The problem is that the world changed faster than your neural wiring could keep up. So you've got a Stone Age operating system running in a digital economy, and the result is about $1,200 a month in spending that doesn't actually make your life any better. That $1,200 a month, by the way, invested over 20 years at a historically average 7% annual return. That's roughly $700,000. I'm not making this up. Run it through any compound interest calculator. 700 grand. That's the real price of not understanding your own brain. So do the audit. Cancel the zombies. Add the friction. Wait the 24 hours. And the next time your brain tries to tell you that you need something, ask it one simple question. Do I need this? Or does my brain just think I do? Frankly, that one question might be worth more than anything you'll ever buy.